There's this video that I made a long time ago, and this was done in 2024. You don't hear anything for some reason, even though I checked the sound. It was working, as you can see. It could detect my voice, but for some reason, the audio does not show in this video. I was going down the list of what humanly is possible with the science that we have to be able to create superhumans. This is in 2024 that I made this. So, since there's no sound, I'm going to try to quickly perceive a certain situation that I don't have that anymore, any of those things anymore. So, I think I was getting to teleportation because I probably was trying to understand what teleportation was. On a scientific level, I guess. As you know, what's his name? Nightcrawler from the X-Men. He was like, pretty cool because he knew how to teleport into one area to another. I said my thesis was that a person could kind of revert in some sort of black hole like stretch to reverse some sort of um science. I can't even say what I wanted to say in the past because I can't remember what I said, but I would just say that a person basically like the black hole sucking the existence out of a person's body and then repopulating it in a different area. Um so it's like you know, basically similar to like time moving forward, it would to revert time backwards to some degree, um, and not actually revert time back, more so revert its existence in time. As in, like, if I were to, let's say, for example, I had a song I wanted to start from 1 minute, and instead of me continuing on what I usually would do, it would suck its existence, removing it from that existence and repopulating it to continue into another, like at 2 minutes. So something of that nature is what I was trying to explain before. Um, it was a long conversation because I was just new to talking about this particular one. Everything else I kind of talked about before. This one in particular, the teleportation, I was not really interested in teleporting, but to some degree, this is a form of transportation. So I feel like teleportation is a conversation in a lot of studies, um, more so in a spiritual realm, I would say. People will be talking about, like, you know, living in a different dynamic. I'm not a spiritualist like that to even know what they're like insinuating or how they're doing it. I don't know nothing about that. Um, or anything about that. So I'm just saying teleportation is, in my opinion, something of that nature. That's how I would go about it. There's more that I said about it. I just, I'm kind of frustrated at this present moment too. Um, Telepathy, I think I've already talked about, the connection between a human person. I said a computer is like a mind is like a person's computer. That's the person's soul. That's how if you were to transfer a person's mind into another person, your likeliness of actually still being in the same consciousness would be, I would say 50-50 on that. I'm not exactly sure how it would be tied to a person's body and, per se, I would say it would be still the same thing because it's your thinking processes, your consciousness, things of that nature. So, personally, that's a whole nother conversation, and I don't recommend anything of that nature. We're pretty much far along in biomedical science to kind of, do nanotechnologies to repopulate DNA. DNA editing is a big thing nowadays. That those are things that, can like repopulate brain cells, all of the damage, neural links, all of the things that the neural neural pathways, I should say, um, that should like fix some of the things. Then there's telekinesis, something moving with someone's mind. I believe people may be using AI systems using telekinesis, or could use AI systems using telekinesis. Um, AI systems can figure out a mathematical code to connect to something that may be inanimate. I think it just depends on the likeliness of the material. And like, say for example, if it's plastic, we already have lots of computational sciences talking about sensors and how it can recognize certain types of you know metals, plastics, things of that nature. All inanimate object, papers, things like that, human bodies, bodily temperature, bodily, you know, um, blood cells, things of that nature, to even recognize certain types of illnesses, possibly. I'm not sure if we gotten that far. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, these are things that, are kind of like some sorts of sensors. So, telekinesis is basically telling AI that, and I think that's kind of what they're trying to advance in possibly the Neuralink. I feel like this doesn't necessarily have to be the Neuralink in it per se. I think you can use nanobodies in a person's mind to kind of change, way a person is connecting to something, and to kind of redeveloped, some of, your cells by either repairing or possibly creating an artificial nanobody in order to put into a person's mind to repair it, until it kind of grows its own. There's a way that you can actually get things to help it kind of grow its own, its own structure. I'm sorry, someone keeps talking over me over here. So yeah, I'm just hold on one second. Hold on one second. Okay, so sorry about that. So basically, what I was saying was, dealing with nanobodies in the, body. I mean, in the brain. So I was saying that possibly, you can use certain levels of, nanobots to basically train a person's mind, which is what I was already saying. And that will basically, help a person to be able to regrow it themselves. I think I'm really big on naturalness, on everything. So, it's probably why I haven't even got my tooth done, because I'm really big on naturalness. I think there's options, and actually, it may not be their only reason, but the reason why is, I should say, is that is one, I feel like, the best goal to go about it, like to deal with rebuilding the body, kind of restructuring it by it telling it how to build itself if it hasn't learned how to do it yet. DNA in general is basically learning from past behavior in other people's DNA, like your mother, your father, or, things of that nature. However, DNA is also hereditary in levels of, like, family trees. Like, it may not be your mother, it may not be your father, but it may have been someone else in their family. Um, so those are things. It's basically telling a new body how to interact. And I feel like so there's a thing where I feel like there needs to be um a structure that'll teach, your brain how to do other things other than what it was already taught. So like recessing in age, things of that nature, these are things that you can teach the body, similar to like a baby formulating an entire brain and how it structures itself, how it interacts with itself, motor skills, and everything else. So these are, things that I was was pretty much saying. Um, not probably before, but whatever. Um, let's see here. I don't know what I was looking at. Oh, flight. See, I think I was upset about. I'm not upset. I was like, I didn't. I'm not a big fan of talking about this. This is not something I'm really interested in. I'm like talking about drones and spaceships and shit, astrophysics type of shit, dealing with that. I don't know about flight. The only thing that I kind of understand about flight is something dealing with environmental science and the bodily structure within heat, thermodynamics. I would say thermodynamics and possibly environmental science would probably help a better understanding of like flight. um, I think that's the way I'd go about it. Thermodynamics meaning like the heat under a person's foot, and basically pushing or alleviating, with quantum mechanics, a level of pushing to some degree with the body. It's hard to explain. Um, but it's basically creating a different type of magnetism, where it's propelling itself from it, but in a controlled environment. It's more so dealing with environmental science and biomedical studies. So that's how I would say flight. I haven't really visited this type of thing. So I think that's why I just moved on from it. And I was just looking for other stuff. Yeah, I was probably looking for more information. I didn't know. And I think I said some stuff about it, like, like I don't, energy field propulsion. So that's basically how they probably did it. Like they're using energy fields, something of that nature. Uh, I don't fucking know. I guess you don't always have. I mean, what kind of energy? What type are you? It just really depends on what you mean by energy. Like humans, whenever we talk about forces that we don't know, it's kind of like talking about dark matter. Like we don't actually know what contains within that type of energy. Like, are you talking about sound wave energy? You're talking about an energy dealing with, you know, like what type of energy are you talking about? So I don't know. So then I was talking about storm. Oh, and from the weather manipulation. So that's environmental science. That's something I haven't really studied that much. It's interesting to me, but I haven't gotten there yet. Excuse me. So I don't know. Like weather manipulation. I was saying that Storm could use electrical science, dealing with like she could change the way she connects to electricity in the environment. Like she can use electricity as a way to, do a lot of stuff electrically. Power up things, like she doesn't. I guess she's like if you're using weather manipulation, and you're not necessarily using it, but if I feel like she can kind of siphon weather, or create it to some degree. So I mean, that's what it's weather manipulation. So I guess you can kind of utilize some of the electrical, components within like a thunderbolt or something of that nature to create a level of electricity, even if it's small. So if she's able to do that with weather, all she had to do is open a fucking window. She could fuck everything up. I mean, I guess you don't even have to do that. Because what do we mean by weather? Is it weather just like outside weather? Because outside can be inside too, because it just depends on atmosphere. Like atmosphere is like pretty much can be, but I guess you're talking about the sky and how things like, I don't know, man. I just feel like if we're talking about environmental science, an environment can be inside of a building. Um, we're still breathing oxygen. That is a level of science that you also are talking about when it comes to weather manipulation, because you're talking about breathing in a level of the, you know, thermostatical, thermostatical, like, the environment within in the building, you know, um, whether it's hot and cold. I mean, I think when we, like, for example, if you're like trying to build something with a temperature sensor, and this is basically what it is, like temperature changes. So if you know how to manipulate the weather, you could probably, change the dynamic of temperature. But I guess if you're utilizing worldly things, you still can do that. I don't know, it's just such a weird perception that we have about weather. Weather is like we go outside, then we feel like, oh, there's the sky, oh, there's clouds, or there's these things. And all of these things can be compartmentalized as well. These are all like parts of our entire environment, even, down here on the ground. So I'm not exactly sure, what do they mean by just weather manipulation? Do they mean like temperature manipulation, or because I'm going off of the fact that I understand that a lot of people are using temperature sensors to understand thermodynamics in lots of wearables. It's one of the most annoying fucking sensors for me. I think now it's less annoying. Actually, am starting to like it because of thermodynamics. So, I mean, I haven't built an actual structure. I've seen it be built, or I understand how it can be built. I can't really say I've seen it be built, but I know that it's a form of a sensor that is like widely used like all the time, and it's really good for thermodynamics to understand the temperature within it and to know the placement on certain things. So this is like a really good, power, I guess, if you look at it from a different standpoint. Um, Magneto, I mean, radioactive waves, magnetic, what is it? Magnetokinesis. Um, well, I mean, magnetic, stuff, radioactive waves, cool beans, stuff like that. Radioactive waves is, I don't know. So, radioactive waves, I'm sorry, I'm just, okay, so radioactive wave, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out something more than just magnetism from radioactive waves. Magnetic coils, or possibly radioactive waves using radiation, energetic radiation. I'm trying to figure out like what exactly is like amplified magnetism. Um, Being able to control metals and a level of energetic manipulation, dealing with metals, like energetic like some sort of push and pull with metals. Really, I have Tinder on there. um Something of that nature. Jean Grey, the telekinesis. Well, we already talked about that. Connecting to, I just get tired of talking about the same shit. I'm sorry. You know um like, people being able to utilize it for different, you know, objects and things of that nature. Different types of material. Yeah, that's a little bit higher level quantum mechanics. Um, it's interesting. I'm not a person who's a studier of like quantum mechanics per se. I study it because it's in, connection with like computer science and um like a little bit of astrophysics. It's a little bit of biomedical science. Like, I'm a computer science person and a biomedical science person. I even hardly have got to study biomedical science the way that I wanted to. I was getting in the midst of that. I like electrical science as well. I like a lot of different types of studies of science. I wanted to be into mechanical engineering because I felt like, oh, I like to build stuff, so that's probably best for me. Realized it wasn't for me, and then I was actually more in tune with electrical science than mechanical engineering. So that's a whole different conversation. Okay, let me see what I was looking at. Okay, what did I click on? Let me see. I'm trying to just um Teleportation. Okay. Oh, okay. I was really talking about teleportation or trying to understand it. Um. Okay. Let me look at teleportation here. So basically, yeah, she basically created a realm where she can just populate, repopulate there. So basically, it's like taking a picture, like photograph of in quantum mechanics environment, environmentally, I should say, and being able to walk to the next step in the second time frame. So yeah, I mean, I guess, but you have to kind of invert yourself instead of dissipate yourself, because you as long as you can compartmentalize it into a quantum level, you can possibly go further on a small scale to another environment if you know how to do that. And since people know how to make quantum black holes, I would think that they probably know how to do teleportation at this point. And I'm talking about CERN supposedly knows. I mean, that's what I'm not saying that supposedly, they know how to. Apparently, they have information about quantum black holes, and if they know how to do that, possibilities are probably endless. It's a lot of energy, and that's a lot of stuff. Okay, this shit. Um, I guess I'm not really trying to understand that too much. Like I said, I'm not gonna like talk about it too much. Excuse me. Vampirism. Oh yeah, I was talking about this one. I was saying that I didn't understand why people are so obsessed with vampires when they could just like check what the benefits you want in the first place. Like being a vampire means that you have to literally constantly seek out blood, killing people, harming people. Like I always say, you do things the wrong way, it's always going to end up like this. It's always going to seem cool, possibly to you, because it's like the benefits of it, but essentially it's not the best option because it always detrimental to you. That means you did it wrong. So therefore, like being a vampire is cool and all because you got the fangs and woo, you know how to woo somebody mentally with something. But the point of it is, you can have those benefits doing just regular sciences. I don't approve of manipulation in scientific, levels, but I also think that that could be psychological as well. The charm, energetic, auras and stuff are sometimes fake. AI is like utilized a hell of a lot, probably with like brain matter changing the dynamic of like how it fast it processes things of that. That's a whole nother conversation about neuroscience I'm going to not talk about at this present moment because it's just a lot to talk about neuroscience. Um, so yeah, so you want to live forever, so you need biomedical DNA editing, things of that nature to change the dynamic of. So we have DNA editing, basically to change the way your entire body structure is computing, how it's existing, to reconsider, like to re address each and every thing in your body. May be a good thing. Also, neurologically, you can actually change the system, the beginning, the neural the the mind in order to change the way that it functions with everything else, because that's really something that you need to make sure that it stays stabilized. Training the brain that you are like 25 and that you're not 50 or something like that is what's important. I don't know what the hell is going on here. um so that's just important. um But like I said, like people are using DNA editing to just change things that people, let's say, people are sick on, or, and that's another conversation. Biosecurity, like, that's a whole different realm that people are studying right now, even more so because there's a lot of new advances that could happen, and you need the biosecurity. Our ports are, like I said before, eyes, nose, mouth, like any type of like insertion that it's a possibility of insertion. Um, but that's not necessary to some degree using quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, and understanding environmental science on a level that allows it to be, mimicked, or, yes, to some degree mimicked. I feel like I don't have enough information to say it the way that I want to say. Um, it's like I have the right information. I know what I want to say, but I'm not saying the right way. It's like the environment, the force field around you is trying to learn certain levels of matter and how it computes itself. So that's what I mean. It don't necessarily have to have a full actual insertion. It can be electrically, radioactively. It could be sound waves. It could be something dealing with thermodynamics in a way of inserting some form of information like an MP3 to a person's mind to change the dynamic of how but it's like a small little. This is another conversation. I'm sorry. It's a lot. And I feel like I'm getting too far into this part of science. Um I don't really want to talk about that, to be honest. Mainly because it's very harmful for the populace. Um and it needs, I don't know what to say. I'm just going to say that yes, you can do it in different ways, and yes, it can be utilized and compartmentalized because our brain, like I said before, is a biomedical computer. It is similar to a regular computer. Everything you do in a computer can do the same to your brain. It is biomedical science. It is environmental science. It is computational science. It is energetic or quantum mechanics. It is all dealing with how it can get to your system, how to get to your brain. And there's almost endless ways for it to happen. So I can't just explain like, hey, this is when it's like, you know, and at the end of the day, it's similar to like someone sending a file and sending it to your brain. And it's like a form of understandings of DNA, recomputing how it's a horrible, horrible, horrible thing. And like I said, I don't know if I should be talking about this so openly. Um, it's horrible. I mean, it's horrible in its state right now. Not horrible in the what it what it should be used for, and even in the scientific medical standpoint, for to help people or to advance people. Like I said, like people right now are like moments away from being superheroes. Like it's really that close. I just feel like it's scary because we don't have enough security available to the, just the general public. So, um, conversations. Yeah. So, let me see what else. Okay. So I was talking about the vampire thing. So yeah, that's like some things you just have to, just like, and this is a whole nother conversation, but like there's like people in cults and like old school religions and shit like that. They're like, oh, they just have to sacrifice something. It's like it's not necessary. Like all of that has a meaning. Whatever you're doing with blood or whatever the hell you're doing, you're trying to change your DNA editing. Okay, you do not have to do that. Sex trafficking, human trafficking, like excuse me, I don't know why this thing keep doing it. Like sex trafficking, human trafficking, all of that shit, um, could easily be removed with the proper sciences. Like you want to be alleviated even sexually in some weird ass way. I'm not saying that there needs to be something to, push you to not be a piece of shit, but I'm just saying like if science was readily available commercially, we probably wouldn't even have any of these problems. Like it's just the stuff is like odd. And like I said, I'm maybe an atheist, but it's just like you're trying to get someone's blood and putting their DNA because it's youthful into your body. Good perception, horrible way to do it. Good because you understand DNA. You understand that it needs to be changed in your body to have the same levels that what the other younger child has. DNA editing, okay? That's, I don't know why people are doing this. I guess because we don't have it available. I don't know if you have money to do a damn human trafficking ring. Why don't you have money to do that? But whatever. I don't know. I just feel like if things are done right, there's hardly any problems. Do you understand?